Hey guys, so today I want to have a conversation with you. I really want to talk about when enough is enough as far as losing the weight. And let me know if this resonates with you. I really have felt this on my heart to just take some time and just want to sit and we'll talk with you. For those of you who don't know who I am, my name is Michelle Black. I'm the owner and founder of a program where I actually help women who just can't lose the weight. You've been trying to diet, you've been trying to work out more, and that's not doing anything for you. It's just frustrating to you. And you're in perimenopause or menopause, okay? If this does resonate with you, I encourage you to book your free consultation with me, and you can find that link down at the bottom. So I want to just go in and start, and I want to share basically my journey through being overweight and what was the breaking point when enough was enough, and see if you can relate with this and see even where you're at. Let me know in the comments. Let me know what you feel the hardest thing about weight loss is for you, okay? I had not been overweight my whole life at all, okay? Growing up, I was in drill team, I was in track, I was in basketball. I was very active, okay? Never had to pay attention to what I ate. Again, I didn't eat like a pig, but I didn't eat what I guess we would call healthy either. I remember for lunch having just a baked potato full of everything, right? I was 205 pounds. Let's talk about this. Fast forward to just when enough was enough, and then I'll backtrack for you. Starting out, just to give you some background on me, I'm just 4'11 and a half, okay? 4'11 and a half. That's less than 5 foot. And just imagine the distribution of weight or fat on a frame so small. Even if you have a couple more inches, that's still a small frame that you don't have anywhere to put that weight, okay? And I had a baby, and so I can't blame the baby because it was the eating habits and the lifestyle habits that did cause the weight to happen, right? So basically, I had a baby, got pregnant, so I went from 132 to 205 pounds. It's like insane in less than probably about a year and a half from the time of pregnancy, gaining the weight, and from a time that I noticed it. So at that point, I don't think, honestly, I'm sharing you my journey. I didn't know I got so fat at all. I had no idea. And I say out of shape, it's past out of shape. I was a walking heart attack, walking stroke, living in that body at that time. So I want to take you back to that. So basically, fast forward, had the baby, obviously gained a bunch of weight. I think I was 175 post-pregnancy kind of a thing. I was working out. I was doing all kind of dieting. You know the diets, low carb, keto, Atkins, I think it was called Metabolife back then, all kind of things, Slim Fast, the grossest shakes you could imagine, and doing it all. And basically, none of it was working. I was getting fatter and fatter. The more I limited my food, the fatter I got. Looking back, I gained all that weight through just not learning how to, I'm going to call it, really arrange my lifestyle habits. I would say obsessively, but basically just eating out of boredom, eating just to eat. And even when I were eating high nutrient foods, those high nutrient foods were not balanced. I knew none of this back then, okay? This is where I want to go with this, is when was enough enough? For me, obviously, I had to become aware, and enough was enough when I was looking at photo albums, looking at right back in the high school days in the best shape of my life, and then just a few years out of high school where I just blew up. And I was the person that used to talk about people like, oh my God, I can't believe they let themselves get that way. And here I was, that person, talking about other people, and I was just a walking reflection of my biggest dread ever. And if I can, honestly, I'll share with you, I don't think I have any huge fear in life but being fat. I don't fear death, so to say. I'm a happy person, but I'm very spiritual. I don't fear a lot of things, but being fat was obviously one of the biggest things, because there's so many things with being fat for me, okay? And this is my personal journey that I want to share with you. When enough was enough, just looking back. Number one, I was not aware I had gained that weight. You didn't realize, yes, the scale says one thing, or you quit weighing, so you're oblivious. You're not really dressing, I don't want to say up, but you're not changing clothes enough or going places that it matters for you to really notice how your clothes fit. Or you've even just adjusted and you're wearing like sweatpants, right? I lived in sweatpants at this point. big baggy shirts, and I would say honestly, I had lost my identity. I no longer knew who I was. Yes, my name was Michelle, but I was no longer the active. Yes, I'd worked out, but I mean, imagine every time I was working out, I felt like some big fat marshmallow girl just trying to work out. I just felt like thump, right? Those of you who have gained weight, let me know. Does your body feel heavy? Do you just absolutely feel sick that your legs are rubbing together? I think that was the grossest thing to me, is every time I would to walk or even stand still, say you're standing in the grocery store, it's just feeling that the legs just rubbing together. That was, oh my gosh, I think it's the absolute grossest feeling, is that there's so much fat that it can't even separate for you to just stand up. If you sit down in a chair, that your legs literally are so big that they are just touching each other. You can't tuck your shirt in. I was a person who always tucked my shirt in. That was my style. That's still what I like, is tucking my shirt in. And I couldn't tuck my shirt in. I mean, I could, but that would just exacerbate the belly roll. So that was just super sickening. And just honestly, just looking back, that everything was horrible. So I want to even take you through my daily life of what it meant to be like this overweight. Getting up, number one, trying to find clothes. There's nothing to wear. That's a daily occurrence, right? So then that's more self-sabotaging thought for me, to just nothing's working. So why not just eat like a pig anyway, right? Why not just, nothing's working, might as well, why try, right? So the next thing, I'm going to take a shower. That's just another crushing thing against my ego, because not am I so big, I can't even see my feet. Like, how many of you can see your feet, or you can't see your feet in the shower? Like, be honest. Not being able to see my feet, that was like another wake-up call. I think all of a sudden I was ignoring it. And then we have, like, in the shower, I'm just basically noticing, oh my God, Michelle, you are so fat that you can't see your feet. That was my real talk, is you're just so fat, you can't even see your feet. And then obviously I couldn't even shave my legs unless I were to sit down, because I couldn't bend over to reach my feet. If my shoes came untied, there was no stopping to bend over to tie your shoe. Seriously, I would have to find a place to sit down to get my shoe off, to get my shoe tied, because again, I couldn't even reach out to reach my feet. And once I woke up and started realizing that all of these things were because I was overweight. Let's put the scene together. I can't fit my clothes. I'm honestly just getting by day to day emotionally. My legs just feel absolutely freaking sick. I can't tie my shoes. Obviously, if I don't feel good about myself, I can't feel good in a relationship with anyone, right? Imagine, how is your weight affecting your intimacy? Seriously, your husband, you may think, loves you, but I'm going to be honest. If I married somebody that was 130 and they blew up to 200 pounds to 230, that love, you have to be real with yourself. It's not that the person's fat and physical appearance, just it's their lifestyle habits. I was not the same person when I was 130 pounds versus 200. 130 pound Michelle was active and running and cheerful and laughing and a bubbling person. But when I gained all that weight, I basically became very introverted, and I'm not an introverted kind of person. Very emotional. Took a lot of things personally, took everything personally. Everything anyone would say to me was all about me. And in reality, I know that's not even true now, right? The world's too busy that who cares, right? Who cares personally about me unless you know me, right? Honestly, I just even want to share this with you as a conversation to see, can you relate? Can you relate to how you feel about yourself and your body? I honestly couldn't even feel like who I was anymore. I would say, honestly, the number one thing I could say is I couldn't feel comfortable in my own body. Couldn't feel comfortable in my own body. And honestly, that is the huge part. If you can't feel comfortable in your whole body, a huge part of life is identity, who you identify as. And that is the person you show up in the world, whether that's to someone else or to yourself. And if you can't be comfortable with yourself, obviously I wasn't going to be the most pleasant person to be around, right? I would say personally, my weight not only just affected my physical flesh appearance, but emotionally it sucked more than anything I can think in the whole wide world. I can't think even having the worst flu ever was not as debilitating and crushing as being fat. Being fat, when you're sick, you can reason with, I'm sick and I'm going to get through this. When you're fat, it's not that simple. How did you get fat? You got fat through doing a lot of little things over and over till all of a sudden you didn't realize you got so fat you can't get the weight off. And that is just a huge part, I think, is the realization is when enough was enough for me, is really taking a step back and realizing that all of these things were a reality because I chose for them to be a reality, not by intention, but because I'd let myself go and not paid attention to my daily lifestyle habits. It's not just food, it's everything. It's from you sleep, it's from the way you think, it's from your interactions, it's your exposure to people. Gaining weight, even in perimenopause, has a lot to do with lifestyle patterns. And what happens is we gain that weight because we become so caught up in life that we forget about ourselves. I want to say, I would call it even like an out of body. I forgot about who I was and I was just going through the pattern, like taking care of a baby or doing the next chore, going to work or whatever it was. And at the end of the day, me gaining weight was all a part of me not putting myself first. And I honestly have to share with you, I know a lot of people think, oh my gosh, if I'm selfish, then that's like the worst thing. But honestly, it's the best thing I think I could ever come up with. Because if you don't take care of yourself, you can't take care of anyone. You can't take care of your children if you've got high blood pressure and you've got high cholesterol and you've got diabetes and you in the emergency room. I can't tell you, I know there was a couple of times just being just fat that I was in. You go to the emergency room for chest pain. Well, of course I have chest pain. I'm like almost 100 pounds over than who I should be. And so just imagine, is your weight affecting your health? Honestly, I think that was the wake-up call. Not only seeing my picture of really how fat I was, putting together, it was the gross things like rubbing the legs, can't shave my legs, can't bend over, having to go to the emergency room because I have chest pain because I'm fat. That was embarrassing. I can't think of anything more embarrassing. Obviously, I'd been to the ER in the past for having an accident with my hand and a couple of other things, but never been embarrassed to go to the ER for chest pain. And the number one thing I already know on my chart is going to be obesity. Obesity. Fat butt. Fat butt on the chart is going to be the reason that I'm there for heart problems. That honestly, I think, was my wake-up call. Having the chest pain, the anxiousness. I honestly think the anxiety, I don't have anxiety anymore. I really feel like the anxiety was based of really being fat because when you're fat, your body has a lot more estrogen and you have a lot of hormonal imbalances, and that contributes to anxiety and even depression. I can honestly think I would have qualified for clinical depression and even anxiety back when I was 205 pounds. Wrapping my head around it, it feels so surreal to now be out of this and be able to share my personal experience. Why just being fat sucks. Just being fat sucks. And then add perimenopause or menopause, which are the women that I help now. It's just a double whammy. You've completed or you've got to your second life or your midlife and you're ready to a lot of you are empty nesters. A lot of you are retiring or taking on second careers, and here you are with a body that you feel you can't get a job in. Honestly believe there were several jobs I couldn't get because I was fat. I couldn't even pick up 50 pounds, which is what most jobs require you to be able to lift 50 pounds, no matter what that job is. I can't tell you the many jobs I got turned away because I was fat. I'm interested to know, how are you dealing with your weight gain? And how does it really affect you? Is it affecting you in the aspect that you can't fit in your clothes? Is it that it's affecting your confidence level? Thanks again for just hearing me out. I just wanted to share this conversation with you. If this did resonate with you, I would love to help support you, and I encourage you to book a free consultation with me, and you can find my link down in the comments.